These are some symptoms of depression. Things just don't feel like they used to. You feel lonely.
What's up with you? Nothing.
And don't enjoy the things you once loved.
Just watching the game, having a bud.
You may feel exhausted. Hopeless.
Some are so frozen with debt, they can't move.
And anxious.
Like this single mom who couldn't make ends meet and fell behind on her payments.
You know when you feel the weight of sadness.
This woman who made regular payments until the price of gas and everything else went up.
Life takes Visa.
A serious medical condition affecting over 20 million Americans.
Loaded down by loans, choked by credit cards.
You think to yourself, let's go somewhere. I want to float on some water, take a cruise, eat gourmet food, take in some fresh air.
7 out of 10 Americans have credit card debt.
It pays to discover.
When you know more about what's wrong, you can help make it right.
We've turned the corner on drug addiction in the United States.
True.
Prescription Zoloft works to correct this imbalance.
All antidepressants carry black box warnings that they increase the risk of suicidal thinking and behavior.
Doctors prescribed the antidepressant Paxil. Ryan's condition got worse. A year later, Ryan attempted suicide.
Why did it take the FDA so long to finally come out with this ruling?
Our beautiful little girl Candace died by hanging 4 days after ingesting 100 milligrams of Zoloft.
Kind of a question is that it wasn't until we put together all of the data from all 9 trials that we saw a possible signal that we thought should be brought to the attention of the agencies.
It took so long because it took so long. That's why the medical care in the United States is the best medical care in the entire world.
Withholding data can be a huge problem. Congress is going to begin hearings next month.
The Food and Drug Administration has a responsibility to hundreds of millions of people.
It wasn't the disease that caused my daughter to viciously mutilate herself. It was the drug.
Stop thinking like a liberal and blaming, big dollars instead of looking at all the responsibility.
There are about 35 drugs approved for use in the country every year.
Side effects may include nausea, diarrhea, headache, and heart attack.
FDA recently issued a public health advisory describing reports of sudden unexplained death in children taking Adderall and Adderall XR, which are used to treat ADHD.
There are 3 basic types of ADHD symptoms. Inattention, when your child has a hard time focusing or is constantly daydreaming.
Early childhood education, I think, has got to be significantly expanded all across the country.
Hyperactivity, where they have trouble sitting still.
Where possible, I'd like to see us also provide better support for 0 to 3 learning.
And impulsivity, they act and speak without thinking.
They noted that he was lying down on the chair, he was upside down in the chair. He complained that the light was flickering, that the heater was making too much noise. So they suggested that we get him formally tested.
They're going to be in school for so much of their future. We'd like to see them going on for masters and all of that, doctorates. They're going to be in school for a long time. Why can't they enjoy their first 4 to 5 years?
Does the child focus? Is he distractible? Does he distract other children? What his energy level is? All those sorts of questions. And he clearly was ADHD.
You can get kids in that early and they start to learn things. They're going to earn more in their lives because they're going to be better trained. They'll do better in school. Studies show it reduces the crime rate because kids get on the right path. It would bring in revenues to the government because if these kids wind up earning more money, they're going to pay more taxes. So it's win-win-win. It's the kind of big idea that I think could motivate a nation.
Our enemies are largely within ourselves. Indifference, passiveness, a lack of standards and values about right and wrong, good and bad. Though these things are often excused as universal or even extolled as virtues, broad-mindedness, tolerance, or sophistication, they can be as deadly and destroy us just as surely as any nuclear device or missile.
Enriching children, enriching the nation.
Drug addiction in the United States is under control.
The nation's governors met in Washington today to discuss what the president called, indeed, a national problem, drugs. He proposed a nationwide campaign of education waged at the community level.
Your mouth feels clean, your throat refreshed. The finest leaf tobacco, mild, refreshing menthol, and the world's most thoroughly tested filter.
This is your brain on drugs.
That time of day when you can say, come on and hit from the mountain.
drugs.
Newport tastes fresher, tastes better too than any other menthol cigarette.
I wish you didn't smoke weed. You're not the same when you smoke, and I miss my friend. I'll be outside.
It's the new Coors Light Gold Certified Mountain. When the mountain changes color, your beer is certified gold.
How much are we doing about it if all we do is complain and swallow a drug?
Prozac is available in 10, 20, and 40 milligram doses and can be found in both tablets and capsules.
This world's in bad shape, but it's the world that your generation is going to have to run in the next 10 to 30 years. So what kind of preparation is LSD, STP, DMT, peyote, mescaline, or marijuana for what you're going to have to do to straighten it out?
Any questions?